In this edition of EdTech Monday, our panelists will discuss digitizing higher education in Nigeria, opportunities and challenges. I'd like to welcome our panelists for today. We have with us Dr. Oluremi Saliu, who is a staff of the National Open University of Nigeria now, where she currently serves as the acting head of Department of Environmental Health Science, Faculty of Health Sciences. She holds a BSc in biochemistry from the University of Lagos, and she bagged her MSc and PhD in biochemistry, both from the University of eLearning. Dr. Oluremi is a fellow of the Occupational Safety and Health Association UK. She's a fellow of the African Institute of Public Health Professionals and also a member of the Nigerian Society of Biochemistry and Molecular Biology, amongst others. She's versatile in open and distance learning with certificates from various workshops, including the International Council for Open and Distance Education 2021, amongst others. She has also published articles in both local and international journals. She actively engages in health-related community service and is a recipient of several awards. Welcome, Dr. Oluremi. We're glad to have you with us today.
Thank you so much.
Learning in general and online learning at the university level, especially in Nigeria. What has your experience with online learning in your institution been like before and, of course, during COVID-19? Dr. Oluremi, please.
All right, thank you so much for that question. My experience has been very enlightening and interesting. Before COVID, Open University had always been an e-learning university. And we leverage on open and distance learning to actually educate our students. So during the COVID, we were able to have a robust learning environment for our students. They did not lack to concerning their knowledge because we had this platform where we use educational resources through Zoom to facilitate courses. So where you have an instance of over 77% of universities within Africa being closed down during COVID, Open University didn't have that challenge. We had leveraged on e-learning. So right now, most of our facilitation has now gone to another level. Before COVID, we had face-to-face facilitation, whereby it's more like a blended facilitation. Some courses were facilitated face-to-face, while some were online. But because of COVID, we went to another level where we have facilitation totally online. We even had our exams conducted online. And the advantage of e-learning cannot be overemphasized. According to Sir John Daniel, 2005, the challenge, the triangle, that iron triangle of one, costs, quality, and accessibility has been defeated by that revolutionary platform of open and distance learning. You have easy access to education for the underprivileged, for those that are interested in being educated. It's so amazing that now we can leverage on e-learning to actually succeed concerning the Sustainable Development Goal 4, which talks about access to education by 2030. So thinking backwards and looking at Nigeria, the fact that we are now more aware due to COVID, sometimes something bad happens, and before you know it, it becomes an advantage. I'm beginning to see that COVID came and actually pushed most of the conventional universities, unlike Open University that had started, and the focus had always been e-learning. Most of the conventional universities are now forced into using the platform of e-learning to actually enhance education.
So my next question is now, during the COVID-19 pandemic, I know you've touched on this a little, some institutions switched to leveraging digital technology to facilitate teaching and learning. while some others began to consider online learning for the first time. With these institutions having since reopened, in your opinion, is the momentum for digitized education still there, or is it waning?
Well, the momentum for digitized education, I don't think is as high as the pressure that came during COVID. So most of the conventional universities, even though they are now more aware, they are not prioritizing it like it ought to be. You know, they are more aware. They were trying to actually encourage digitization of education. The push was so much during the COVID because most of the schools just closed down entirely. In Africa, like we said, 77%, you know, but now that COVID is over, I think most of them have relaxed a bit. They're not pushing as much as they should.
Conducted by Doris Dokwa Sasu in February 2022, the National Open University of Nigeria was described as the foremost online and largest university in Nigeria, with over 500,000 students as of 2019. Wow. Can the online learning model of NOUN expand access to higher learning in Africa, especially among the underserved communities? If so, what necessary investments required to leverage this opportunity in increasing accessibility to tertiary education? Dr. Oluremi, would you please fill this for us?
Thank you so much. I was privileged to go to the camp in Durumi, and I noticed that there were so many of them. They finished secondary school, and now they have terminal education. And thinking about it, I began to research into what can be done concerning these underprivileged, disadvantaged communities, especially the girl child, the young women that are the ones that are most vulnerable. And I came up with a module that why don't we use leverage on open and distance learning? Like this platform, what can be done? Can we have study centers just like we have in Open University here? We have over 100 study centers. We cater to the less privileged. We have study centers even in the prisons. We have people that have finished degree programs in the prisons. We have centers of excellence. We have ASTEL, African Center for Excellence for Technological Enhanced Learning. So we have all this. One thing I can propagate is the fact that we can have mass digital literacy plans, whereby there's more awareness on the advantages of e-learning. If people are aware that you can actually access tertiary education through e-learning, I'm sure many people will key in. We can also have infrastructures in these regions. Like in Nigeria, these internally displaced camps have come to be. For some years now, we've been having insurgents. We are praying that it will go away. But from all the look of things, it's as if it's part of us now. Even floods are causing people to be displaced. There's so many camps. We have 4 major camps in Abuja here. I've gone to one. Over 2,000 people living in that place. So many people have now had terminal, education. So these are the areas we can come in, leveraging on open and distance learning. You don't have to be in school. Like my guy, Michael said, he said flexibility. You have the access to education wherever you are, whenever you want, at your time, at your place, at your pace too.
All right, thank you very much. Dr. Oluremi, please.
Okay, thank you so much for that question. The support. Michael mentioned one. We need to have training and retraining. We have to have training and retraining. Like in Open University, we had a training just before the COVID on quality assurance, where we learned to use learning management systems like the module. You know, we had that platform and we're trained, and then we trained other people, both academic and non-academic staff, so that you are aware of how to use the internet and open educational resources to actually facilitate courses. So we need training. There's supposed to be exposure, interventions in different aspects of education. For example, we should have stakeholders meeting where we enlighten the stakeholders concerning education, education through e-learning to achieve the sustainable development goal, which will go a long way in enhancing development in Africa, particularly. Policymakers, they should make it compulsory that universities, even if you are conventional university, can have blended, blended face-to-face, yes. And then it is also compulsory that you also have the platforms that can enhance e-learning. For example, in eLearning some years back, they began to give us computers. When I was doing my PhD, the undergraduate classes, they insisted that students they have subsidized, what's it called, cost for computers that were, the students were very, very excited, and iPads. They made it compulsory, and they started sending assignments through that platform. So by the time you do that, you can see down you are trying to incorporate e-learning. Even though you are a conventional university, you are still incorporating e-learning into that platform.
You have shed a lot of light on this challenge on how to expand our e-learning at tertiary levels. So to our listeners, please tell us, in what ways can we leverage technology to increase access to quality tertiary education in Nigeria?